Nico O'Reilly was physically removed from England's training facility by Kansas City police after allegedly losing control during a confrontation with Jarrell Quansah. It wasn't just a heated exchange. It wasn't competitive fire getting out of hand. It wasn't the media blowing things out of proportion. This is serious. Nothing like this has ever been seen days before a World Cup opener. And there's a detail the FA still hasn't confirmed publicly. The police report lists O'Reilly as uncooperative but non-violent, a distinction that could determine whether Thomas Tuchel treats this as a disciplinary breach or something that ends the 19-year-old's tournament before it even starts. And the worst hasn't even come to light yet. Over the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly what happened on that training pitch in suburban Kansas City, who said what, who saw it all unfold, and why this changes everything for England at the World Cup. Because when this happens, days before a World Cup, it's not just any problem. This is about squad unity, about a manager's authority, about whether Thomas Tuchel can hold together a dressing room that's reportedly split down generational and club lines. And the behind the scenes of this is worse than it looks. It all started mid-morning on an outdoor training pitch in Kansas City. The temperature was pushing 85 degrees. The squad was running a tight possession drill, a rondo designed to sharpen movement and decision-making under pressure. Nico O'Reilly lunged late on Jarrell Quansah. The Liverpool centre-back went down, then stood up slowly, brushed off his shorts, and according to sources close to the squad, said something about big club mentality within earshot of several players. O'Reilly froze. Then he stepped toward Quansah. John Stones moved between them. O'Reilly shoved Stones aside and pushed Quansah square in the chest. Quansah stumbled backward. Declan Rice grabbed O'Reilly's arm. O'Reilly pulled free. Assistant coaches blew whistles. O'Reilly didn't move. That's when Thomas Tuchel strode over and pointed toward the tunnel. O'Reilly shook his head. He stayed planted. Facility security arrived within minutes. O'Reilly argued with them. Two uniformed Kansas police officers entered the pitch perimeter. Nico O'Reilly was escorted off, arms held loosely, still talking, still looking back at Quansah. Kobbie Mainoo followed him halfway to the gate before stopping. The rest of the squad stood in complete silence. Nobody saw it coming. But to understand why this exploded the way it did, you need to know what came before. This didn't come out of nowhere. Nico O'Reilly's call-up to the England squad was reportedly controversial from the start. Some senior players, especially those with Liverpool connections, allegedly felt he hadn't earned his place over more experienced options. There had already been tension during the flight from London, where sources say O'Reilly was seated away from the main group, isolated from the senior core. Jarrell Quansah himself had been under scrutiny after a shaky performance against Brazil in a March friendly. And what's being said behind the scenes is that he felt the need to assert himself physically in training to prove he belonged at this level. The two had never played together at youth level. There was no prior relationship to smooth over competitive friction. And when Quansah made that comment about big club mentality, it reportedly struck a nerve with O'Reilly, who saw it as a deliberate wind-up designed to expose him in front of Tuchel and the senior players. On one side, you have O'Reilly, young, hungry, feeling disrespected and targeted by a player he sees as barely more experienced than himself. On the other side, Quansah didn't expect such an extreme reaction to what he insists was just banter, and now feels O'Reilly is too volatile for a major tournament environment. And in the middle, players like Kobbie Mainoo and Eberechi Eze, who allegedly believe Quansah provoked him, but don't want to alienate the senior players who run the dressing room. And hold on, because the most controversial detail I've saved for the end. A staff member's phone allegedly captured partial audio of the confrontation, including what Jarrell Quansah actually said. That audio hasn't been released yet. The dressing room exploded after the incident. Senior players, particularly those with Premier League history against O'Reilly, reportedly back Quansah and feel the reaction was completely unacceptable. Declan Rice, who has over 50 caps for England and captained Arsenal to multiple trophies, allegedly sided with Quansah immediately after the confrontation. John Stones, who witnessed the entire exchange from less than 5 yards away, reportedly briefed Thomas Tuchel within minutes. But the younger players tell a different story. Kobbie Mainoo walked out with O'Reilly, and sources say he's privately furious at how the situation was handled. Ebreki Eze and other younger squad members allegedly believe Quansah deliberately crossed a line and that O'Reilly was defending his reputation in a hostile environment. The coaching staff are privately concerned about both the optics and the timing. Some assistants reportedly feel the involvement of local police was avoidable if facility security had acted faster. The FA issued no immediate public statement, but sources say senior officials held an emergency call within hours of the incident. British press are framing this as a flashpoint that exposes Thomas Tuchel's lack of control over a squad he inherited only months ago. Social media exploded. Some fans are calling for O'Reilly's immediate removal from the squad, saying he's proved he's not mentally ready for international football. Others are defending his passion and accusing Quansah of being soft, pointing out that the game needs players who refuse to be disrespected. And now the consequences are stacking up fast. Nico O'Reilly has reportedly been separated from the main squad and is staying at a different hotel pending a formal FA disciplinary review. If he's suspended or sent home, Elliot Anderson or Morgan Rogers would likely take his spot in the matchday squad for the Iran opener. Both players are reportedly positioned to benefit from O'Reilly's downfall. Thomas Tuchel must finalize his starting 11 for Iran within 48 hours. And the clock is ticking. FIFA's replacement deadline is tight, and any delay in the FA's decision could leave England a player short. The incident has allegedly caused Tuchel to reconsider his entire midfield balance. Declan Rice was already guaranteed to start, but now the question is whether Kobbie Mainoo can be trusted alongside him if he's openly sympathetic to O'Reilly. And there's England's defensive cohesion to consider. Can Jarrell Quansah be trusted in a high-pressure World Cup opener if his relationship with midfield teammates is fractured? John Stones is a senior voice in that backline, but sources say even he's uncertain about how this affects on-field communication. Now Thomas Tuchel is caught between two bad decisions. If he sends Nico O'Reilly home, he loses a dynamic midfield option and sends a message that inexperience will be punished harshly, potentially alienating other young players in the squad. But if he keeps O'Reilly after police were physically involved, he risks losing the dressing room's respect for discipline. And the FA could step in to impose their own sanction, completely undermining Tuchel's authority before the tournament even begins. The FA's internal report is expected within 24 hours, and according to sources, it includes witness statements from at least 6 players who were within 5 yards of the incident. That report will decide everything. This is a manager's worst nightmare days before a World Cup. The squad is divided, the timeline is brutal, and England's opener against Iran is now overshadowed by a question nobody should be asking at this stage. Can Thomas Tuchel hold this team together? And look, this is far from over. This is the information going around so far. But over the next few hours, new details should drip out, and they could turn this whole story upside down. Over to you. Was Nico O'Reilly defending his reputation in a hostile environment, or did he just prove he's not ready for international football? Write it down below. And if you don't want to find out about the next bombshell after everyone else, subscribe and turn on notifications now, because when this fully blows up, you'll want to be the first to know, not the last. And there's another layer to this that makes it even more complicated. Elliot Anderson and Morgan Rogers are reportedly circling this situation like sharks. Both midfielders were on the fringe of Thomas Tuchel's plans before Kansas City, but now sources say they're being seriously considered for the matchday squad against Iran. If Nico O'Reilly is sent home or suspended, one of them steps straight into a World Cup squad. You, as a fan, know what that means. This isn't just about discipline anymore. This is about careers being made and destroyed in the space of 48 hours. And that audio recording, the one allegedly captured on a staff member's phone, strong rumors point to it containing not just what Jarell Quansah said, but also Nico O'Reilly's response before he shoved him. If that audio leaks before the FA makes its decision, it could force their hand entirely. The FA is reportedly aware of its existence and has requested a copy as part of their internal investigation. But as of now, it hasn't been made public. That could change at any moment. Harry Kane has been England captain for years and has seen dressing room tension before, but sources close to the squad say even he's struggling to navigate this one. Kane reportedly tried to speak with both Nico O'Reilly and Jarell Quansah separately after the incident, but O'Reilly had already been removed to a different hotel by the time Kane reached out. Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford, both senior attacking players, are said to be staying neutral, unwilling to alienate either the younger players or the established core. That silence speaks volumes. The thing is, Thomas Tuchel inherited this squad. He didn't build it. He's only been in the job for months, and this is his first major test of authority on the international stage. If he makes the wrong call here, the players will remember it for the rest of the tournament. Declan Rice has the captain's armband when Harry Kane isn't on the pitch, and Rice reportedly made it clear to Tuchel that the senior players expect consequences. But Kobbie Mainoo, who's one of the most promising young midfielders England has produced in years, allegedly told staff he'll find it hard to trust the setup if O'Reilly is scapegoated. Tuchel held a closed-door meeting with his coaching staff late into the night after the incident. What's being said behind the scenes is that the staff are split. Some believe O'Reilly crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Others think the situation was mishandled from the moment Quansah made that comment, and that facility security and coaching staff should have de-escalated before it reached the point where police were needed. And here's what makes this a genuine crisis. England's first game is against Iran, a team they're expected to beat comfortably. But if the dressing room walks into that match fractured, if Jarell Quansah and Declan Rice aren't communicating properly because of lingering tension, if Kobbie Mainoo is distracted or resentful, then tactics don't matter. Chemistry doesn't appear overnight. It's built over weeks, over training sessions, over trust. And right now, that trust is shattered. The fans can feel it. Social media is still exploding. British tabloids are running with headlines about squad meltdown and Tuchel losing control. Rival nations are watching this unfold and sensing weakness. You can bet managers from the United States, Wales, and every other team in England's group are taking notes. This is exactly the kind of internal chaos that derails tournaments before they even begin. The FR's decision will come within hours. Nico O'Reilly's World Cup hangs in the balance. Jarell Quansah's reputation as a calm, composed defender is now under scrutiny. Thomas Tuchel's authority as England manager is being tested in the most public way possible, and the clock hasn't stopped ticking. This is the kind of moment that defines tournaments. Not the goals, not the tactics, but the decisions made in hotel rooms and disciplinary hearings when nobody's watching. And England is about to find out whether Thomas Tuchel has the nerve to make the call that keeps this squad together, or whether this incident in Kansas City becomes the story everyone remembers when they look back at the 2026 World Cup.